Very good evening to everyone. We are here with yet another virtual session, and today's session is all about a journey exploration. And today's journey exploration, we will have our today's speaker, Shalini Abhilash. She have done her MSc in Yoga and Nutrition Science. She was introduced to yoga when she was 9 years by her mother, and she was very mind conscious, healthy lifestyle, and on holistic wellness. So she was connected from her childhood, and she was a state level throwball player and finished her MBA and was working for corporate for 3 years, and she decided to quit her corporate work and then come to this journey of nutrition, healthy lifestyles, and to teach people in the way they can live a healthy life. So, with this small introduction, ma'am, I welcome you on our platform, and I hope this journey will help many students and people in their life to change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhavit. It was really very nice, and thank you so much for having me here. And it's really very nice to share the journey that we all walk through, and it's nice to share the journey that we all connect together for one philosophy, that is a better human life. I think you pretty much summarized everything as to how it all started. I was a child with ADHD, and it was not actually diagnosed because there was no awareness about diagnosing it. But I was really very hyperactive, extremely restless, and too much of physical activity, which my mother felt she was really not able to handle. And she also had her own set of physical and mental challenges, so she started her yoga class and then realized maybe this is something that I need. So she wanted to help me calm down, help me a little bit relax, help me stay a little grounded. So that's how my yoga journey started. Only when after a very long time in my life I had realized, okay, like I had this ADHD, a very minor, rather to a very small extent in my childhood. And that's how yoga started. And of course, like every child, I never liked yoga. I always questioned it. My mother was bribing me a lot to practice yoga, and she used to, the bribe was from buying me a dog to clothes to whatnot, everything. But she just wanted me to genuinely give an effort towards it because she saw a greater benefit with herself. She was struggling a lot. My mother is a physically challenged person. She had polio when she was a baby, and she grew up with that. And she has no mobility in both her legs. So she felt yoga really helped her a lot in her work life, in her personal life, in her emotional life. And she somehow wanted this to get into us. And she knew that it's not possible for children to adopt all these things just because parents are saying. So initially what started off as insisting, like she was insisting, she was requesting and all those things. Over a period of time she realized kids never listen, they just follow. So she started inculcating this yoga and mindful practice to herself, because I always used to tell her, I don't need yoga, I'm fit and fine, I'm very active and I'm a sports player. It's you who need it, because you have health issues, you have that, you have this, so you need it. So I started observing that over a period of time she stopped insisting me. That was when I was around 14 or 15. And just one fine day I started noticing a lot of change with her, the person that she has become, which we had never noticed. She has become more calmer, more relaxed, she was getting more fitter, she was not falling sick very often. We always saw her a very happy person. And suddenly I started noticing it, and I kept on noticing it and observed that this is what yoga did to her. And she prioritized herself, she prioritized taking care of herself, and she totally became transformed into a very whole new different person from the person that we knew. So that's when my first attraction towards yoga started. Actually, until from 9 to 14 it was all just about lot of arguing, lot of bargaining, and I just did it because my mom asked me to. And that's when I started to think, let me explore what is this all about. And there was no looking back from them. And that's when I met my guru, and there was one conversation which I had with my guru, changed my whole perspective towards me. And there was just one question he asked, tell me about yourself, or talk about yourself for 1 minute. So the deal was, talk about yourself for 60 seconds. And if you're successful, you don't have to practice yoga, just let go of it. But if you are not successful in that, you will take up to yoga and you will give a genuine effort and practice towards yoga. And the question was, Talk about yourself for 60 seconds, but three conditions. Don't talk about your past. This is my parents, this is where I was born and brought up. This is because your past really doesn't matter, and you're not your past. You're talking about your parents, you're talking where you're born, your city, you're talking about place and different people. So that's not allowed. Don't talk about your likes and dislikes and ambitions and goals, because this is something that we pick up in the event of life, as we keep growing and as we keep experiencing. For example, if I say I like red color, I was not born saying I like red color. Our likes, dislikes, wants, and goals, ambitions, these are all the things which are opinion based, which we pick up during the experience. And last thing, don't talk about your future, like how you want to be, what you want, because that's again a desire, which is something formed out of experiences and opinions. So without these three things, talk about yourself. And I had nothing else. And that's when I really dawned on to be that there is something, a whole universe to explore about myself, about this body, about this mind. Because except for these three things, there is nothing that we know to talk about ourselves. And that's how this yoga journey started. And just out of curiosity, I did my MSc. I mean, I was a commerce graduate, then went ahead to do my MBA. Just out of this curiosity, I kept on studying more, because the more and more I studied about this body and mind, it fascinated me much more. And I was very greedy to know more and know more and know more. And eventually I did my MSc in yoga. That's only because it was a 2-year study. I loved to study in more detail. So there was no agenda behind it, no nothing. It's just out of passion. And I was working for a corporate, and one fine day I just said, okay, this is not working. For 3 years I was with corporate. I never knew wellness industry, fitness industry, there's something like this. I can go work, passion, nothing. I just grew up thinking I am supposed to graduate out of some degree and I'm supposed to follow whatever I studied. So I just took up my MBA and my job and did it. In one fine day I said, no, I'm not doing this. And then I started asking questions as to what I really want to do. And it was a very dark phase of my life, because I know what I don't want to do. I never wanted to be in corporate, that I knew, but what should I be doing, that I never knew and had no clarity on it. So just kept on asking this question, what? And finally, again, when I sat with my guru and he helped me put it in paper or put it in words as to what really drives me and what we really like in the world. So after a million things I wrote, the final conclusion came was I like people. I like to do anything with body and mind. That is either mine or somebody else. And I like to explore more about the self. And I like interacting with people. And I like making a difference, just human interactions and human connections. These are all the things that really, really I'm passionate about. And then I just thought, let me just give it a shot. And I started teaching yoga for free. So even before that, even before professionally teaching, I used to be engaged in a lot of social service, because the yoga ashram that I come from believe in free service. So that was any which was a part of me. But professionally, I had never given it a thought. So 2010, I said, okay, let me just give it a shot, and tried teaching yoga for a month in different wellness studios across Bangalore, and it clicked. And then that's how it started since 2010, and there is no looking back from then. And I have my own studio here in Bangalore, and I've been just trying to share whatever the best I can.
Thank you so much, ma'am, that you have shared your journey with all of us. But in this journey, I do have questions with you. So, what was that day when you started your journey in yoga? Because someday your thought are stuck to one place. Yeah, this is my life. This is what I have to do, yoga. So, what was the first thought when you have entered in your MSc in yoga and you have changed yourself in 2 years of your program?
So actually what happened, as I was saying, in my life, nothing was just an overnight thing. That's what I just always look back. It was a process. It was a very organic process, which took its own time. And even when I started yoga, so as I told, I studied from an ashram. I studied under a guru. So there was more and more towards this body. And that's when my guru said, you want to study more, you just do this. And that time the ashram had tied up with the university for an MSc degree. And I said, okay, let me just do this. It's because I'm more fascinated about science. And the thing in the yoga ashram was those who, So the thing in the yoga ashram was the gurus who teach there, they're all out of experience. They have learned yoga out of experience, like the Gurukul system, and they were teaching. But I felt I wanted to learn from somebody technical, like a college, a university, a very organized and a technical education. And I just wanted to bring in both, because at one point there is a slight friction between science and philosophy, or the yoga, or the, the ancient philosophies of this country. And at one point they always disagree, and there's always, I just wanted to bridge in that gap, and I wanted to understand both the world, because I come from a place where it's all of philosophy, spirituality, and lectures, and uh, accepting everything without question, which was very, very difficult for me, because I can't accept anything without question or logical reasoning. That's when I wanted the help of science. And that's the reason I decided not to do any of these 30-day certifications and 60-day certifications, because that doesn't make any sense. So I wanted to know science behind it. But I was a commerce graduate, but science was always something, fascinating. So I took up MSc in yoga and nutrition, because I wanted to study technically under an organized system like a university, a topic and subject which is researched, which is accepted by science. And that's how I just got into the MSc.
Thank you. And that is how it is required, that one day no one
Yeah,
will change. That what you have
yeah,
said, that is a process. Everyone do have a process to live with and to change
yeah,
with your journey. So if
yeah.
I talk about your social media handle, which was
Hmm.
not active very previous, like it's active in last 1 year, I think so. When we
Yeah,
are
yeah.
going through your post, it was like in 1 year it was changing a lot. But when we see your post, it was a transformation from 2014 or 16 to you in now in the formation of weight. Okay, in formation of your process of doing yoga. So
Mm-hmm.
it was decided before, or somebody was guided you to do all these things?
On the Instagram handle?
No, on your changes, on your body
On your
changes.
my changes. Okay, yeah. So it's again a very organic process. What I've realized about myself is, see, everybody have their own strength and weakness. The problem is we don't know ourselves. That's the whole biggest issue, I call it, because we are so interested in knowing the world around. There are so many things that we don't know about ourselves, and this transformation was one such thing. I had never even imagined in my life that I can go up to 90 kgs, because I was always been underweight, and I have gone through a lot of body shaming for being extremely lean and underweight. So 2010, I was 40, 950 kgs. That's the maximum I've ever been in my life. 2010, when I finished after 3 years of my corporate life, and that too I had gained, because I was around 40 to 43 kgs. That 5 to 6 kg of weight gain was because of 3 years of corporate life, not much of physical activity, a lot of sitting, and even then I was 50. So I had always struggled to gain weight, but marriage, then 2 kids, I had back-to-back pregnancy. It's just purely no time for self-care, no time to do it in a very systematic, organized way. And 2015, when I delivered my daughter, I was 90 kgs. Luckily, my gynecologist is my student. I teach yoga, and she comes to my classes, and I do sessions with her. And we were both very surprised, just because I had never had any hormonal imbalance or never had any unhealthy eating, because healthy eating, exercising, these are all a very part of my childhood. It's just a part of me. It's not an extraordinary effort for me. But with just none of these things, I had gained a lot of weight. That's purely because I just didn't take care of myself, doing the right thing, and having meals on time or exercising. It was like back to back too much of things. And then I was going through a lot of body shaming. I had a lot of complex within myself. It's because it was very shocking to accept myself, to go to that another extreme, coming from an extreme of always being underweight. One. Second thing, the acceptance of people, a yoga teacher, a fitness instructor, how can she be very fat, how it is. And I've had a lot of comments that you yourself are so fat, what are you teaching about, and all those things. So this journey of transformation was not just about losing some inches, is finding your own self, knowing your own self, your strength, weakness, being so patient, finding courage to be consistent, and doing the right thing. So that's what I write a lot about on my Instagram handle. And I've realized one thing: there is no one hard and fast method to do anything. and we can be so surprised and we can be taken by shock the way the body reacts. For example, something might be working for me this month, but the same thing won't work for me next month. And there is no one methodology. So my transformation journey is not of one methodology or one exercise pattern. It was of because of yoga. I had food like this, I had meal like this. No, it's a combination of lot of things. This month I followed three hours eating pattern. The next month it wouldn't work on me at all. Then I kept on trying. Then I went into the yoga ashrams and all. We practice the intermittent fasting, intermittent way of eating, that is long meal gaps and smaller portions of eating. Then I tried that. So there's a combination. It's just that you have to keep listening to your own body. Just keep figuring it out what works for you at this moment, and not sure that what works for you now will always work for you. So it's a constant connection with your own self, constant exploring your own self. But one thing was constantly permanent: the effort. So doesn't matter if it is working, not working, no result. It's very easy that we get demotivated when there is no result, because I don't know, we human beings are always trained to function with numbers and results. So when we don't see the expected numbers or the expected results, everything goes down. So I worked on overcoming that, and I said, doesn't matter if the weighing scale doesn't change, doesn't matter what, I'm just going to keep doing this, doing this, doing this. Sometimes it was very surprising. For 3-4 weeks doing the same eating habits and the exercise, I had no change. But immediately after 5th or 6th week, I had a massive change. So consistency is the key, and of which I have now come down to 65. And this is the transformation of my weight loss.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Because what you have said, it is always I have thinking like you should first observe yourself,
Yeah,
not go for like inch loss, what we always talk about. Now it's a fitness industry would talk about weight loss, but they do not
yeah,
talk about conscious living. And that is
yeah,
why if I talk for this session, the approach to you, it was like that, because in session, inch loss is there in every wellness industry, fitness format. Wherever we go, they always talk about weight loss, inch loss, or
mhm,
some kind of food nutrition dietetics, but they do not talk about conscious living.
yeah.
And that's what it make you unique in the format what you are teaching to the people. My second last question to you, like
Mhm.
how you came up with the word conscious living with your name, because it's something it's strike to you someday and you have made this Instagram handle and now it is working and people are listening to you, watching to you and learning more for their conscious livings.
So actually, the consciousness, I am actually little, I'm also a little surprised. It's because this word consciousness has stayed with me throughout my life. So when I started my yoga journey when I was 9 year old, for me, it was everything the upside down process. Today world, yoga means there is two ways of connecting. One is people connect through the physical asanas and they call I'm doing yoga, or we just go join some ashram and some guru, and then again we say yoga. That's a more spiritual side. For me, it was everything upside down. When I was 9, when I was introduced to yoga, it was the Kundalini yoga that I was introduced to, and I started as a Kundalini yoga practitioner. That is like, meditating on your chakras or glands or however we call it. The physical asana part came to me very later in life when I was around 14 or 15. So it was, for me, the way yoga was introduced as it's the thing for mind, it's a thing for yourself, and it's all about mind, and the physical part of yoga came to me later on in our life. So this word consciousness is something that I've always grown up with, and it's like, I think, inbuilt, recorded in every cell of my body right now from the time I was young. But it seems to be a very a unique and a different and an attractive world for the, for just the common people. They keep asking me this, why this word conscious living? It's so nice, so unique. For me, it was not because unique, nice. That's the foundation of my life. If there is one thing that I've ever learned, either it be yoga or it be my degrees or my experiences in life, what I've gone through as a whole person, it's just that everything depends on that moment of consciousness. This is what something I have learned from my guru. And he would always say the foundation of your life is just on that moment of consciousness. A small moment of consciousness before, during, or after doing anything physically and mentally. That's that. Just that's the one whole line about the whole life. you know, if you can just spare a small moment of consciousness or awareness about yourself and about your environment, and in all the three stages of life, either in the current moment or during the process or after you have done something using your body and mind, I think we can figure out 99% of the things and just have a life the way we want it and be very content about it. So that's the reason it is conscious living, because consciousness is not just about only about environment or only when you're exercising. It's every moment of life, every second. Even now, I'm really very conscious about what I'm talking, what I'm conveying. And a lot of people understand conscious as very uncomfortable feeling. A lot of people also tell me, like, it's so uncomfortable to feel conscious, you're not natural. No, that's not what consciousness is. Consciousness is just a moment of awareness. I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm talking, I know what's happening in my mind, I know what's happening in my body. It's just that awareness makes it a beautiful journey. So that's why conscious living.
And it's an inspiration for me and for every student or every doctor who sees your work. And my last question would be that what would you give three thoughts to me or everyone who will watch this session?
Yeah, okay. And I would just love to conclude with this. Even before the second last question, you asked about my Instagram handle and everything. Honestly speaking, when I came in, I'm always last and late for everything. That's how it has always been. I've been teaching for so many years and have my own studio, but I never felt the need of social media presence and I should be doing this. However, I was very hesitant to do that. And thanks to lockdown, everything started from August. My Instagram handle, I started actually from August. And even I have tried my level best, constantly being on Instagram, making my social media presence very evident, taking ideas, inspirations from a lot of people. I have initially attended a lot of this social media gurus who teach you how to be a successful coach and all these things. But only I just realized that nothing works. Nothing works, and there is no formula which will help you become the best. So in my personal journey, whether it is my social media or the current journey that I'm in, only thing that works is you need to explore yourself and you have to be very genuine, because people can very easily make out. You might think that you are too good in pretending that you are the best and you are amazing and this is what you do. No, people are very smart. Everybody can make out whether is this your true self or not. And I always just tell people, don't try to pretend to be anything in your professional life or personal life, because that doesn't work. Just be yourself and just do whatever you can to the best possible ability. So that's one thing. So if you're really looking outside for some, yeah, there's nothing wrong. You can always look out for motivation, inspiration, ideas, techniques, technologies, all those things you can look out, but those don't make any difference if you're not from inside. So right now, it's since last 6 months that I've never gone to any social media influencer or any coaching classes for the social media thing. I just decided saying that I'll just do whatever I know. I'll just do whatever I can give, whatever I know. Otherwise, it's a lot of unnecessary effort thinking, will this work? Will this not work? If I post this, will people like it, not like it? This is a very hard thing to do. Don't waste time on those things. Just whatever you want to tell, genuinely be yourself, truthful, and tell, and that works. And one last thing, if I just wanted to tell, because you're all amazing bunch of doctors and I have a huge respect for this field. It's because whatever I am today, it's because I failed to be a doctor. That's what I will always call. So I wanted to study medicine, but there was nobody to guide me properly. There was nobody to guide me well as to how can I study medicine, because maths was one of the subjects which I just couldn't do. And I was in a depression for a very long time in my life, that I couldn't study medicine. And that took me to different phases of life. And but anyway, I just landed up with this. My guru used to always tell one thing: there are two kind of people in the world. One is those who go and discover the nectar, or the most amrit, the most the precious thing in the world. So there are two kind of people. Every human being's effort is to just go and find that amrit of our life. And especially when it comes to health and wellness teaching, yoga gurus or the doctors especially. So one kind of person, they go find that and they just drink it for themselves. They enjoy the amrit for themselves and they rejoice their life. And there's a second category of people who think, okay, this is so tasty, this is the best I have eaten. How nice it will be if my fellow human beings also can experience this. So after they finding that nectar, they step out and they try to do their best to share their experience and their nectar to everybody else. So it's not just enjoying the wellness and conscious living for yourself, it's just about spreading that, and the happiness in seeing your fellow human being also experience that. So I think the doctors default fall into the second category. You really know yourself, you study wellness with the whole intention of serving this to the humankind. So you're already there. Just if you are a little more conscious about doing it, you are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shalini ma'am, that you have covered everything from starting to end. And it gives me inspiration in terms of the living part. You should be conscious what you do, what you teach, and that would give you more power to learn, to teach, and preach what we are earning.
Yeah.
So with a small message that everyone should look forward with our work and improve themselves in their field, whatever they are doing. So it would help many people. So thank you so much, ma'am, to come on our platform and share your views wonderfully with all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bhavit. It was my pleasure to join you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone who are
thank you.
watching this.